What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We got a hot one today, all right? Celebrations is exploding right now. And honestly, I don't know if it's totally valid. I know 30th anniversary is right around the corner. I had listed a bunch of Celebrations ETBs for about $175. At that time, that was what I was happy to let them go for. They sold, I didn't cancel. The market's already higher than that right now. So I hope you guys, those of you that did buy those Celebrations ETBs, I hope you are happy with them. Everything is still in mint condition. Celebrations was one of my all-time favorite modern sets for a good while, right? Now we're deeper into Scarlet and Violet. This era is about to be over, but in Sword and Shield, Celebrations was one of the most goated sets ever. You had not only Umbreon, which is exploding right now, it just doubled. You have Greninja, which is in a PSA 10 now, $1,000. That doesn't make any sense, guys. Greninja was just like a $200 to $300 card in a PSA 10. So many of them have been graded, and we'll talk a little bit about that. There is some rationale behind it, considering the pops are super high of the total graded Greninjas, whereas the PSA 10 Greninjas are far, far lower in population. And honestly, compared to the Umbreon, the Greninja's, I think, rarer. Now, one of my all-time favorites is Charizard, right? I think it's a lot of people's basic all-time favorite Pokemon card. Charizard is not moving as much as Umbreon and Greninja, but Charizard also had a little overnight jump, kind of. I bought this Charizard for $180, $200, somewhere in that area, from a local shop, and I was very happy with it. I've graded two. I think I graded one a while back, and then I graded one recently with PSA, and it got an 8, which I'm kind of considering, like, dude, Celebrations is moving right now. You might want to take your 8 down, because these cards might be a lot more valuable, might be worth keeping them, especially because I am a big Charizard fan. At the time when I got my cards graded and I got the PSA 8, I was really bummed out because I honestly thought I was going to get another 10 to add to my personal collection, but it just didn't work out that way. Anyways, this set is amazing. I think a lot of people think Celebrations is like an okay set. I think Celebrations is absolutely incredible. Is there a reason for me to pump Celebrations now? Absolutely not, guys. These are the last 3 ETBs I have left in my collection. It's pretty awesome. They've collected dust, and they've been sitting on this shelf. And you guys know we're about to move, so there's just no reason for me to be holding on to stuff right now, so I hope someone else really enjoys those ETBs. I also sold a bunch of single cards this morning. I can't ship out because it's a Sunday, but I still went to the post office because I really try to go above and beyond as an eBay seller. I really try to get stuff out quickly, but then I realized, oh crap, it's a freaking Sunday. Anyways, Celebrations is such a freaking cool set. There are so many great cards in this set, but obviously the Umbreon I think is big, the Greninja is big. Recently, Gold Star vintage Pokemon cards have seen a huge rise in popularity, and the prices as a result have skyrocketed. I am almost complete with the Gold Star collection and PSA 9. I'm missing the Umbreon, which is like 20,000 now. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know how I'm gonna pick that up, but we'll figure it out. It'll happen eventually. Yeah, I need the Umbreon, I need the Celebi. You guys already knew that. Right now, we're in the process of closing on a home. I'm not supposed to spend any money, so I think it was good that I was able to sell a bunch of this stuff this morning. Had I known the market was going to make a movement that quick, I had a late night last night. Had I seen any videos or really was, literally checked my YouTube, which I didn't even check my YouTube or any of my comments from the last video I made till this morning. But had I been on that, if I was fully in this hobby full time, I probably could have squeezed another $50 per box. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to cancel on buyers. If you ever win an auction from me or you buy something from me and the market explodes and you buy for a much lower price, I always honor the stuff that I sell. I set prices that are higher so that when the market does move, it'll be profitable for me and it'll be worthwhile, and I don't mind waiting. That being said, Celebrations, where is it going? Do I think that this is going to hold up? I don't think that these prices are going to hold up. Maybe for sealed, the prices might hold up because not only do you get the Greninja promo inside of the box, right? The promo now this one graded a 9. And you know what? In retrospect, I think, I put this with my gold stars because I kind of thought like, dude, you may never grade a 10 on your own. Like, just be happy with this 9. Just keep it in your collection. And now even the 9 is worth like, what, 125 to 175, somewhere in that area, which is insane, if I might add. Also, this morning, I also sold my Celebration cards, both raw and graded, on my eBay store. Everything Celebrations is selling. I think a lot of this has to do with YouTube. I think a lot of this has to do with the type of content people are making. When people are saying stuff is gonna blast off, or we're gonna see the next price movement, or everything is gonna stonk, that's when a lot of uneducated people that are jumping into this hobby, jump on board. Am I saying the people that bought these ETBs for 175 were a little bit misled? Not entirely, because at least you can make up for the value right now in this market because of the Greninja. But if the Greninja were to fall in price again, I wonder what would happen to the Celebrations ETBs. Now, granted, we're seeing this price movement across the board, right? Like I said, it's happened to the Charizard. It's happened to the Gold Star Celebrations Umbreon. It's happened, which I would have referenced in this video, the PSA 8 I have, but it's already been sold. It's happening to all these cards. So there's a good chance maybe it holds up, but it happened the same way with Modern Alt Arts. Modern Alt Arts basically shot up for Sword and Shield, and they've come back down in a big way. Same thing with Scarlet and Violet SIRs and illustrations. Cards have come down in a big way. I think a lot of old heads right now, like collector veterans in the hobby, are saying like, dude, this is not sustainable. It can't last. But I will say, I don't know why it took this long for Celebrations. I always thought it was a really fantastic set. In my opinion, one of the best special sets we've had in a very, very long time. I personally like the holo pattern. I like the stamp. I think that it's absolutely gorgeous, and for such a fraction of what an actual base set Charizard would cost in a 9 or a 10, I think it's a really, really good value. And personally, love that Celebration style holo. For now, I have reset these to like 300, 375-ish. So I know I listed them very, very high, but honestly, I don't really want to sell these. So that's kind of when I list stuff super high, is when I just don't really want to get rid of it. I might want to open these for a stream at one point. We might want to grade another Greninja right out from the box fresh. Getting a PSA 10 Greninja now would be a huge, huge win, and kind of makes it worth the gamble to open up one of these boxes. You basically, for, my value, I put in $50. Literally, the Greninja out of the box, I'm already up on just that Greninja. And then opening the packs, we could get another Charizard, another Umbreon, so many other amazing Celebrations, stamped holos that look great. The Garchomp is up there. I think the Garchomp is sick. I know there's a Mew. I never got that Mew. That's one of the ones I don't think I ever opened or pulled or have even really seen in the wild. That might be the older one, but I want to say that that's from Celebration's 25th anniversary. But there are so many great cards that are in this set. I just think the most notable ones, the Greninja promo, the Umbreon Gold Star. And I really feel like the Gold Star Umbreon and the Gold Star Greninja, those prices are really somehow correlated to the vintage Gold Stars. It's not really too far off. If you type in Gold Star into eBay, you're gonna see all of these promos lumped in with all these very high-end, expensive Grail vintage cards. So I think people are getting confused and they're kind of lumping them in the same category. And that's why these things are kind of skyrocketing, and it's gonna pull up the rest of Celebrations. I think that's really interesting. I wonder if Pokemon in the future will decide, and I have my Tito's fanny pack because I just came from the gym. I'm sweaty, I'm hot. It's 100,000 degrees in Charlotte right now. I just really wanted to crank out a video. One, because I'm passionate about this set and all this stuff is going on now, so it's relevant right now. But two, because I have a really big shift that I'm working a double on for the rest of the day. I'm already late right now, but I really wanted to make this video. It means a lot to me. Celebrations is one of my favorite all-time sets. If you're gonna buy this set, I would definitely wait until the hype and the manipulation kind of cools down a little bit. but I'm also no guru. Things in this hobby continue to go up in price, and a lot of us are hoping that we've peaked and that we're ready to settle. The dust is ready to settle, but this hobby continues to amaze and just shock all of us. A lot of, the groups that I'm in and the Discord that I have, a lot of us have talked about this, and it's kind of appalling to see the prices go so high. It's also very exciting, guys. We should be excited. Those of you that have celebrations that have been sitting on it, this is by no means to be a Debbie Downer, like, this is crazy, you should sell, because these definitely aren't worth that amount of money. I think they're worth every penny. For us right now, we're moving. I needed to sell this stuff. Also, I don't cancel anything on eBay. So I sold. Where do I think the height is going to be on this? Short term, I don't think anybody should be paying more than like $200 for these. Honestly, short term, I don't think they should be going for that much higher. In a year or two, I think it would be perfectly valid for the ones that I have listed above $300 to sell. Perfectly valid. 2 more years on them. 2021 release, right? This is 2021. 2 more years. So they're 4 years old technically right now. They've had 4 years to cook. The price has basically quadrupled from its MSRP. But 4 years is a long wait, guys. You're really telling me that there aren't other investments or other places you could park your money that would be just as good in that 4-year period? I don't know. Also, in Pokemon, I think it's more about short-term, finding stuff to grade, really building value by grading, flipping raw cards. I think there's so many better short-term plays that you can make than simply buying a ton of sealed product. Furthermore, probably need to make a separate video on this, but I think that the sealed Pokemon market is vastly overvalued. I think it's stupidly overvalued, and I think the prices are going to dump here soon. I really think shortly things are going to change. I'm hopeful. I've been open to the fact that it might take months, it might take even a year or 2 years for the cycle to kind of reset, because we have these cycles where Pokemon is extremely popular, it gets in a bubble, then it kind of falls off. Right now, everyone's talking about Magic. They're talking about Final Fantasy. If you haven't seen Rudy's latest hilarious video where he's like throwing stuff in the video and he's talking about Final Fantasy, I honestly don't see Magic pulling people away from Pokemon. I don't think Pokemon's collector base is going anywhere. I don't think we have anything really to even worry about or even dramatize, to be frank. I think this is just a great product. I think it's a fantastic product. It's going to do really well long term. Right now, it's just like, whoa, look at a new price movement. Another thing is stonking right now. And so I think people are going to be really irrational right now. They're going to jump the gun. I think, honestly, a lot of the sales that I had this morning, I think were people really jumping the gun. They're just saying, you know what, I got to get this before everybody else gets it. In my opinion, there's so much of this product out there. There's so many people sitting on this product still. And maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe I sold early. But guys, when you're at such a profit on this stuff, even after fees on eBay, it just doesn't seem like it makes sense to hold out on it much longer when you can roll that into something new. The sales that I've made here, I can roll into picking awesome raw cards from my shop, and I can flip those cards for even more. There's always, and then I can find stuff because I buy that collection, I get some cards for free and I grade those, and then I sell those graded cards. You can constantly move it into something else. I do think sealed product is a great lazy play to make. But yeah, they're just beautiful. The white with the yellow Pikachu stamp on there. I just think that this is a premium product and always will be. It's kind of sad that I already sold the 25th anniversary UPCs and I already sold most of the ETBs, and these are my last 3 left. But I honestly think I'm gonna keep one of these for the sake of like good memories. This was the set that really got me back into Modern. Me and my wife Diana pulled, not this exact Charizard, but we did pull a Charizard. It ended up getting, I think, a CGC 8 or a CGC 9. Yeah, I think it got a CGC 9. Terrible grade to get back on that. Should have just sent it to PSA. Would have been so much better off at this point. No shade at CGC. I know people love CGC. I just prefer to grade with PSA. But yeah, I have a lot of good memories with celebrations, and we are celebrating. You know, it's also like, wow, this is shocking. Oh my God, like stuff's worth so much money now. But we're also celebrating. This is really cool. This is healthy price movement in the Pokemon space. A lot of us got into this thinking that we were investing, but the reality was, I think a lot of us deep down do love these sets and just wanted to have an abundance of them, you know, because you never know when you're going to want to crack several of them. There's so many horrible, and I mean horrible products that I have opened. So much trash, so much garbage in the Pokemon space that I would not wish on my worst enemy. You know, there's so many terrible auxiliary products out there. So many Sam's Club boxes and Costco tins. There's so much crap, Walgreens stuff, Pokeball tins. There's so much junk out there. This is not that. I will say this is the premium product in Pokemon. This is one of the better ETBs. This is one of the better products. And just the shiny Greninja is sick. I'm a huge Greninja fan. I've got my little Greninja toy down here. This is the Jazzware, one of the Jazzwares toys. We got our little sick throwing star Greninja over here. I've got my Greninja SIR, my Greninja EX SIR in a 10. And we've got more Greninja SIRs coming back from PSA. Dude, this smaller sub, this smaller value sub, I'm so excited to share because it's awesome. But yeah, Greninja is top tier badass Pokemon. So it's awesome that you get that promo in this box. Celebrations has kind of been like trending like this though. So I want to urge a little bit of caution, especially to people that are out here FOMO buying this product, that when you see a jump like that, usually it has to trend back down a little bit. So these could easily trend back to 150 area for a while. They could jump to 250, 275 even. I could see some people way overpaying through auctions or something, but then it's going to come back down in my opinion. I think that's pretty much what's happened in Pokemon for the most part. A lot of stuff skyrockets, comes back down, settles. You do have the outliers. You do have cards that are just so rare, so low pop. And to that point, this Greninja, relative to all the Greninja that have been graded, this Greninja in a 10 is pretty low pop. I want to say it's like 1,000 or less in PSA 10, whereas you've got thousands, maybe even 10,000 plus graded in PSA in general. I know the Celebrations Umbreon, I think there's like 15,000 or 20,000 of those graded potentially. Those numbers might be wrong. I might be thinking of the VMAX from Evolving Skies, but guys, in this hobby, there's so much information constantly floating around in our heads, living rent-free. I can't possibly know everything off the top of my head, nor do I have time to section it off into edits for the video. But you guys kind of get the vibe. Does this? Yes, and this Greninja even has a swirl. So here is my PSA 9 Greninja that sits with my other gold stars, and it has a really cool swirl. No one's probably going to be able to see that swirl, but it's one of my favorite things about it. Anyways, also in other news, I think Yugioh is very much like, for those of you that are interested in Yugioh, I think right now Yugioh has a lot of value proposition. Like first edition Grail cards in Yugioh, first edition sealed booster boxes in Yugioh. I mean, the rarest of the rare stuff in Yugioh is kind of super slept on and undervalued right now. Not only would it be great content, but my first TCG love was Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, Pokemon was recess and trading and having a good time with the homies and going over to my friend's house and having pizza and playing Call of Duty and playing Halo, really more Halo, and just having junk food, eating a ton of pizza, dueling with all your friends, like using different decks, trying different strategies, really at the end of the day, just spending a ton of time with my friends as a young kid. And Pokemon was more like road trips, playing Game Boy, trading at recess, showing off, my collections, my binders as a kid. That was more Pokemon. But Yu-Gi-Oh! I was really so much more involved in. And it's been a matter of time, right? I've been talking about the fact, I've got my Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter decks up there. You guys can't see them, but I've been talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think what I'm going to do is probably sell off in a few weeks or a few days, or maybe even tomorrow. I'm going to list pretty much all of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Raw, And I'll be selling all of that pretty much on eBay, whether it's through auctions, whether I'm gonna list stuff individually. I have no freaking clue how I'm gonna go about doing it. But I always find a way. I think I'm gonna liquidate that stuff and throw it into sealed Yu-Gi-Oh! Vintage boxes, because Pokemon vintage boxes just aren't affordable. But you can get a Metal Raiders, which is basically the second release of Yu-Gi-Oh! I might be wrong on this. Me and my friends were talking about it briefly in our text group chat. But I think Metal Raiders, they pointed out there's like 4,000 or 5,000 for a first edition booster box. Metal Raiders is an amazing set, guys. That's an incredible set. Like, that's the equivalent of like Fossil or Jungle, or maybe I'm doing it a disservice by saying that. Maybe it's more like Team Rocket, you know, in the early WotC era days of Pokemon, right? Metal Raiders is such a good set. And so there's so much value in buying that vintage stuff. And the Pokemon market, the community is so oversaturated right now that I feel like it's a good time to pivot and look into something else. So yeah, I think I'm gonna sell a lot of my Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, and basically I will be buying like one nice first edition PSA 10 card at a time in Yu-Gi-Oh. Obviously I can't do anything until we move into our house and the closing is officially set and all that is done. But yeah, just wanted to share that briefly. I know Pokemon is popping off. I know Pokemon is stonking. I know this stuff is continuing to perform really, really well. But I also want to remind you guys that even though there's a ton of great, you know, money glitches and moves that you can make in Pokemon and stonking that you can have in Pokemon, there is so much opportunity in Yu-Gi-Oh too. And I, for one, all of us in our like little text group that we're in, and some people in the Discord are very adamant about collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! And some of them have already gotten on it. I didn't bring any of my nicer Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards out to show, but like, dude, some of my favorites, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon, like just basic stuff. The Egyptian god cards, the Winged Dragon of Ra, Obelisk the Tormentor, Slifer the Sky Dragon. Like, dude, those are so goated. And for me, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Up till 2018. So I have much more of a history with Yu-Gi-Oh! Than I have with Pokemon. And not only would I feel like that would add a layer to the channel, but I just feel like it's something else that I'm really, really passionate about, really, really excited about. And on that note, it's time to wrap it up and get ready for work. My wife is signaling me right now, but I have to end this video. So we'll talk in a sec. I'm just gonna end this on. What is it, babe?
Yugioh actually like boosted with us though, because we used to play together.
Yes. Okay, so Diana, I'm itching to get this video wrapped up so I can get ready for work. But Diana did mention something that's very important. One of the most important things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that when my wife was pregnant with our first child, and maybe even a little before that, but I think it was really when we first knew that we were pregnant with our first kid, that's when like I had a bunch of stuff boiling up to the surface, like wanting to relive my childhood, and all those great memories of my mom coming home with one booster pack and like an anime movie from Blockbuster. Like, that was so critical to my childhood. And that's like what I define as having a good childhood, like having a little treat, having a little reward for like being a good kid, and then watching an anime movie, opening up my pack. Even if I didn't get anything, it was still so much fun. And that's something that I want to relive again with Yu-Gi-Oh! With doing openings and collecting again. So, and I want to take everything I've learned from the Pokemon space and apply it to Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that I am going to crush it, because I know that there are deals and there's all these variants and there's all these reprints in Yu-Gi-Oh! But ultimately, like, I'm going to go after just the legendary, like, classic, like, most iconic cards from the vintage era that I used to collect, because that's just the stuff that's going to hit home the most. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sure I missed some stuff going on with celebrations or just the market stonking. But overall, I think you guys can agree that this is a huge win for everybody in the hobby that's been collecting pretty much since like that COVID era. For those of you that were big believers in celebrations, congratulations. Today is a huge win for everybody. I wish I would have probably priced these higher, but you can never be too greedy, right? Anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I have a huge party event to throw at the bar right now. It's gonna be a long, long damn day. Anyways, you guys, work hard for the things you care about, enjoy collecting, don't focus on all of it just being about the money. Enjoy what you're collecting and have fun while you're at it. And think, if you want to open one of these bad boys, open it up. It's 100% worth it, in my opinion, to open products like these. There's a lot of gimmicky products. I don't feel like this is one of those gimmicky products. I think this is a product that actually gives you a decent ROI, especially at this point in time, with the fact that you're going to get this badass Greninja card already in the box. Anyways, guys, have a fantastic one. Peace. See you guys on the next one, and we've got a stream on Wednesday.